Some of y'all need to come get your great-great-great-grandparents because they're trying to run the country. I actually had to stop what I was doing today to make a ranty video about these stupid hearings. The best thing about these congressional hearings is that enough young people are pissed off so that they're actually paying attention and seeing just how old and out of touch our government leadership is. This is why we need something called term limits, kids. They have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to technology. I'm just sitting around waiting for someone to ask how the videos even get on the phone in the first place, and if it's done by a series of tubes. These people not only cannot let the CEO answer any questions, half the time the things they're asking him don't even make any sense. They're also rude as hell, half the time interrupting him when he was trying to answer their questions or to say that they were out of time. They obviously have an agenda, and they don't want the answers. Let's get something straight. This whole charade is not about privacy. First off, I just wanted to say that it doesn't actually matter to me personally if TikTok is banned. I didn't really have a dog in this fight. I saw the writing on the wall months ago, and that's why I've stopped putting in the grind on here. However, TikTok has changed my life. I've discovered so many natural remedies for my health issues that I'm healthier than ever. I've connected with so many amazing people whom I otherwise never would have. And I've given ear to people whom otherwise I probably never would have. I've watched people's journeys into common sense the more and more our corrupt government has been exposed, and people walking hand in hand. But I understand that if TikTok is banned, that would be devastating for millions of people, especially the ones who worked so hard to be seen. I would mourn with them over all of their lost work and effort. However, I do know that they would still be followed onto another platform. I'll still go find the people I discovered on the next big platform. It's not the end of the world. But in saying all that, I am still pretty ticked off listening to this hearing. And I'm going to tell you some reasons why all of this is absolute BS. Why, though, does the government actually want to ban TikTok? If the real argument was just because they were worried over privacy concerns, that's fixable. They certainly didn't jump all over Facebook when there were much worse personal privacy issues. And as many other creators have pointed out, they don't want TikTok to exist in America for two reasons. First, we're getting unsanctioned information about the corrupt government and what's really going on in the world. They want to control the message. With TikTok, they can't. No one would have known about the Ohio train wreck if it hadn't been reported on TikTok. People are covering stories that they don't want us to know, and it's a narrative that they cannot control. And that's a big problem for them. And it would have been better for them if this hearing hadn't been viewable on TikTok, because it's hella obvious. Secondly, they don't want us talking to one another, because then they can't keep us divided. I've seen so many far leftists realize that the right is actually right about a lot of stuff. And I've seen righties realize that the more left aren't vicious monsters, but oftentimes just doing the best with what information they're given. I've watched a lot of people not only become more aware politically, but learn to get along with one another. The very last thing the government wants is for us to have community with one another, because the government wants us to need it to survive. We're witnessing the hissy fit of the century thrown by Zuckerberg. Others have made great videos covering all of this, so I won't rehash, but the core of this is corrupt lobbying. Of course, it always is. Zuck is just angry nobody wanted Meta and it failed miserably. So he's trying to crush the competition through lobbying. The unfortunate fact is that we've got an unelected branch of government running this country called Big Business, and it's more powerful than all the other elected branches. So Fascist Book went censor crazy and drove people away in droves. Now TikTok has gone censor heavy as well. I've been censored for bullying when I've never bullied anyone in my whole entire life, and I actually make videos standing up against bullies. TikTok does silence and censor people. But the argument that Congress has is that it's not doing enough, which is a whole other can of worms. Conservatives and the anti-government creators are the most silenced people. Basically, unless someone's anti-men and a bootlicker pushing sick agendas, they're censored or shadow banned. I actually got a notification last week that TikTok was actually heating one of my videos. I'm a small creator who has gone viral twice. Within minutes, I had 1,500 views on that video, and then the views immediately stopped. The video was immediately shadow banned right after it got traction. Do you want to know what it was about? It was about the importance of children and building communities. So yeah, messages like mine aren't really popular among the bigwigs. So TikTok is at fault for censoring non-bullying, non-violent videos, but at the same time, leaving up downright hateful bigotry, like anti-men videos or videos encouraging people to commit violence. Like, we aren't even allowed to say the unalive word, but I've seen women post videos telling men to go pew-pew themselves. But I'm shadow banned for saying things like you should love your children. Yeah, there's an obvious agenda here, and that's part of the bigger problem. The government wants to control all these aspects of our life under the guise of safety. Well, look at how great the FDA is doing. We are all literally being poisoned by FDA-approved food. And we're sicker than ever. The health ministers all over the world look like they've never gone on a jog or seen a celery stick. They obviously know nothing about health or nutrition. And if they do, don't care. And they're telling other people that they shouldn't care either. You should care about your health about as much as I do. I'm the health minister. The FBI and all the other three letters have been doing a great job keeping America safe. No, this is not about safety because the government doesn't care about your safety. Their only half-baked argument that they care about our safety is when they try to take the very things away from us that could stop them from hurting us. They do not care about our physical or mental health. If the government actually cared so much about the mental and physical health of their people, they would be throwing a far more massive hissy fit about porn, which is far more detrimental to society and the individual than random short videos about gardening or cooking or history or dancing. These politicians don't seem near as freaked out about how easily accessible porn is to young children. Oh shoot, this is stuck. Okay, and we're back. So yeah, these politicians don't seem near as freaked out about how young children can access porn. 10 years ago, I think the average age for a child to be exposed to pornography was 7. It's probably like 4 by now. That is an epidemic. But they don't hold hearings about that stuff. Why don't we just ban porn? Because children can see that. They'll think it's normal and it leads to unhappy relationships, rape, sexual frustration, mental health crisis, sex trafficking. But no, we need to get rid of the TikTok videos. The politicians' argument that all this is about our safety is absolutely whack. It's not. They let other companies and itself get away with far worse. Biden didn't even care about the train derailments, but took no time in jumping on the possible user privacy breaches. Also, for the record, I heard how one of them tried to say that payment processing information can be easily compromised. What they were actually trying to talk about is something called PCI compliance. And no, third parties are responsible for securing financial payment data. They're secure. I know because my husband was the manager on their case. His company was hired to make sure that they met compliance and could not be hacked with the user payment and info stolen. It's a totally different ball game than these politicians can even begin to understand. But hey, they've got opinions. They pulled in some stories to back up their agenda, which I totally understand many good parents have valid concerns, and parents have lost their children to being influenced by TikTok videos. However, this is dangerous. The government wants as much control as possible when it comes to what we can ingest. And using emotional pleas to do this is standing on the graves of children. We should not be handing over to the government the right to control what we watch, which is why they're freaking out right now over TikTok. They don't have control over the information that we gain about their corruption. It's a sad situation, but punishing all creators for the behavior of some is not the answer. Teenagers who are mentally unstable are going to find materials, no matter where they are, to either further their illness or heal them. That is the parents' responsibility to not only keep their children away from these things, but to educate them appropriately. The last thing we need more of is government control over what we watch and how we talk to one another. Do not give in to the emotional pleas. Those who are wrong rely on emotional pleas because they cannot use logic. And they often do it to gain power. This is like the age-old argument that video games promote violence. While video games aren't good for really anyone or society for a lot of reasons, one being the systematic desensitization towards human dignity, they still aren't what produces behavior. They can only encourage it. It's still the parents' fault for allowing their emotionally and mentally unstable kid to have access to a violent video game. Parents should not be putting their children in situations to be brainwashed. If a parent is sending their child away to public school to be morally formed by the corrupt government, they're already at fault. Their kids are already being indoctrinated with a strong thirst to be liked, and then when they aren't, suffer intense depression. Now, it's hard to be parents nowadays, and a parent could be perfect and still have things like this slip through the cracks. But there ought to be more focus on less government control and more parental control. The government is not going to save us. A Florida congressman told his story about how his teenagers were deeply negatively affected by TikTok. Okay, that's on you, buddy. And it's not okay to say people like me with chronic health issues aren't allowed to have a community of people to learn how to better heal themselves because you suck as a parent. Why do responsible people have to suffer because of your parental failings? Why can't parents take accountability instead of saying, no, we need the government to tell us how to parent our children? But then again, that's how we've been trained to think. Send the kids away to government schools to learn. We aren't responsible for their education. Why should that include putting in the work to keep them safe? Surely the government takes enough of our taxpayer money to do the job for me. Why would anyone let their kids have cell phone and social media? I'm not going to, because I'm a responsible parent. Protect your damn kids. Another point I wanted to make was how one congressman said that if someone was having a mental crisis issue and looking at videos about it, TikTok would then push mental health ads, such as BetterHelp therapy. His argument was that TikTok was selling this person's personal mental health crisis information, when that's not how this works at all. It's an algorithm thing. And in situations like that, it's good. Yeah, too much social media time and too much screen time can definitely lead to depression. I've noticed it in myself as an adult with a great life who is in complete control of it. So no, I don't think unstable individuals should have it or be exposed to it for a long period of time. But like hell, am I going to advocate for government control because I can't control myself? An Indiana congressman said, when am I going to get paid for the info you gather on me and my kids and grandkids? And I gotta say, that was weird as hell. Do they get paid by Facebook and YouTube? He thinks paying people for their targeted ad information is something that could possibly work. Our government knows nothing about money or economics. Like, I freaking swear, I am in the Twilight Zone. I am in the Matrix. You can turn it off right now, please. You can turn it off. I know it's been fun. Please turn it off. A Washington congresswoman said, mindless scrolling takes kids away from socialization and friends. No, you know what took kids away from socialization and friends? Needlessly closing their schools for 2 years. This whole thing is ridiculous. Our politicians obviously have an agenda. They want TikTok to be banned for reasons that they would never ban Meta for. They want to control what we can learn and how to connect to one another. And most importantly, they don't want us to rise up against them. I should do a podcast where I'm listening to all this stuff live because I was really mad today. And my husband was like, this is funny. This is funny. You should live stream your reaction to these. Maybe I will.